What's up, gang? It's your boy, Richard Martin. That's right. He's back with another podcast, but this time he's brought AJ with him and his old pal, Jeremy.
So old.
So old. Yeah, welcome along to the Popture podcast.
Thank you so much.
I've introduced us already, but this episode is we're looking. What are we doing, AJ? I'll let you talk about it.
Well, last week we did our yearly tradition of looking at the films that of Christmas past, of years past, and talked about what we liked, and we usually called that episode the most disappointing films of year they came out in. But after some useful listener feedback, we've been changing up the formula every year, which I'm sure is worse for the formula
algorithm.
But we landed on every film we watched or every movie we watched in 2022. So this episode is going to be called Every Movie We'll Watch in 2023. It's not entirely correct where we're talking about every 2023 film we'll watch in 2023, and even then I'm sure we won't see half a dozen of these. But that's what the episode's called, and it is also going to be a two-parter, just like the last two, but I won't be putting time codes for what we talk about in this episode, because this is a look forward, and so spoilers are nigh impossible.
We know as much as you do.
Exactly.
And as always, just a little warning up top, or a little disclaimer. We're not going to be talking about every film that's releasing. There's always going to be some that slip through the radar. There's always going to be some, there'll be like some Sundance favorite there, and also
just this past weekend.
Exactly, and this is really looking at more the sort of blockbusters or big theatrical releases with a few little caveats here and there. But yes, sorry if we don't get to the film that you're most anticipating. But the thing is, you can head along to our Discord and you can talk about it there. So that's not only
show notes.
It's a nice. It's also a nice plug. As well as a disclaimer.
For people that don't know, the way we record these is we do a Zoom call where I zoom in to from Christchurch and talk to Jeremy and Richard, who are up in Auckland. And one funny little thing about that is, because Richard's office cannot really facilitate two people, whenever we do this, I just stare at a door frame and half of Jeremy's face for about 30, however long it takes to record these 3 hours, and I don't even see Richard. So that's my, well, there's his hand. He's covered the lens. Ah, very nice. He's now moved it away from Jeremy so that I can't see. Oh no, Richard's there. Okay. Anyway, I just thought people would like to know.
You can't see either of us. Is that better?
Yeah. No, I can't see either of you. The full experience of recording these is me staring at a door and hearing your voices.
Okay, what do you want? Because I can angle the webcam.
I don't mind. I just think it's funny. Like,
I'll give you Jeremy because you see Jeremy less.
Okay, that's a good idea. To get me through it, though, I've got, and to get us through the next however many hours of podcasting we have to do, I do have 4 out of 6 cans from a 6-pack of Sprite I bought today.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Let's see if I can't make my way through all of them, maybe get a little bit tipsy by the end of it.
All right, well, without further ado, let's...
Jeremy, say something, bro. Say something.
He's going to make a sassy comment about how we haven't started yet.
Oh, no, I just, just letting you complain. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
those little coloured candies aren't going to line themselves up.
No. I look, my phone is locked to portrait mode, so that I'm not playing Candy Crush.
Yeah.
No, I've got this man, you put a couch on $1 reserve on Trade Me.
Oh,
and you get people literally, so we put like a set a table and chair set. Like, very, very nice table and chair set on Trade Me for originally $3,000, because it's literally you can to buy it all new would be around about 8,000.
Yeah.
And so we're like 3,000 is pretty good. We've ended up selling it for $670 over the course of yeah. It's honestly,
Damn.
I'm so pissed off. But
You got
we
sucked in.
had 4 different auctions, nobody bidding on it.
Fuck.
And then I put this couch that's got really bad sun damage along the back of one side of it, and I've taken photos of all of the sun damage, put it for $1 reserve on Trade Me, and been like, hey, this has really bad sun damage, as you can see in the photos, along the back of one side. But the rest of it's fine, so you can put it... And then I've had 25 questions on this bloody thing.
Hey,
and
I'm just wondering about that sun damage on the back there.
The latest question is, I'm looking at the photos of the front of the couch and wondering when was the last time you cleaned the couch, because there might be more sun damage hiding under any dirt that might be there. And I was like, when was the last time you did a deep clean of your couch, lady?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell cleans I vacuum it. Oh my God. And it's just like, what dirt and dust hides sun damage? Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm just... Are you glad that I'm talking now, AJ?
Yes, I'm getting riled up
I am.
for you. I once sold a car. I put it on up for $800, and it was like perfectly fine. But it was one of these things. I could have sold it for about $2,000, but it was making this weird noise. And I took it to the mechanic, and they said, "Oh, it'll probably be about $1,000 to fix." And so I was like, "Okay, selling this car for $800." And then someone came up and was like, the guy that ended up buying it was like,
the mechanic.
Yeah. No, he took it for a test drive, and he's like, yeah, so it's pretty good. It's just making that noise. And I was like, that's why it's $800. And he was like, yeah, okay. And then he bought it. It was like
it's like someone who thinks of themselves as like someone who could negotiate,
Yeah.
but then absolutely packs it in at the first sign of conflict. I'm like, because this, AJ, when I was being silent before, I was writing a response to this woman who started.
Listen, lady.
Who started. It's very close to listen, lady. Because she starts her question with, hi there, and then like return. So it's a new paragraph.
Yep.
You said there is sun damage. But when was the last time you cleaned the sofa? As I'm worried there might be more sun damage on the front of the couch. Is it in good condition? Thanks, smiley face. And I'm like...
She said smiley face.
Yeah. And then I've gone, hi there. There is discoloration on the back of the one side of the couch, as noted in the description. And I have taken photos of every couch cushion to show how there is slight discoloration between some of the cushions. And bad damage on the back of one of them. I don't know how much clearer I could have been.
Yeah. I think you might have some sun damage in your fucking eyes, lady.
For our international listeners, Trade Me is like eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you didn't do it on the Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, is this still available?
Is
this still available?
Is it still available?
It's still available?
So annoying. Hi there, I'll give you 20 cents for it. Or when it's like, oh, I'm selling this, you sell this refrigerator for $300, and they're like, I'll give you $100 cash right now. And it's like, that's not more convenient for me. A, who wants cash? B, I'm at work. Like, they're like, I am on my way to pick it up now. I have $35 cash.
I am cloying and desperate for a segue into the podcast topic. I've finished off all 4 sprites in this entire conversation.
Wow.
So how about we jump? I'm kidding.
Also,
Let's jump in.
just as another little side note before we start,
Okay, never mind. Fuck me. Fuck what I think.
Well, no, just that that might be
Drink your
distracting
Sprite,
for some
boy.
people. Oh, they're mini sprites.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
That's why I got 4 of them.
It's like I've lived in Auckland for how long has it been?
I've been here for 12 years.
Yeah, I've been here for like 9, I think.
Yeah.
No, 8 years. And this is the rainiest I've ever seen.
Oh, it's the worst. And like,
Yeah.
and not just the rainiest, but like sustained.
Yeah.
Like sustained torrential downpour.
So-
I've just got a whole bunch of text messages from my friend whose house is completely flooded.
Yeah.
The bottom floor has like about 20 centimeters of water through the entire floor.
It's so bad. Yeah, like worst I've ever seen it. But like there is a nice little convenience or like was coincidence that like rain is quite a similar frequency to like white noise, so it's very easy to take out of a recording from what I understand from AJ.
Yeah.
But if you are hearing something else in our audio, sounds weird. It's because AJ's had to do a little bit more magic than usual.
It's not me doing the magic, but thank you. It's the multi-band compressor and denoiser I'm chucking on it.
So, first up,
Your Cult Popture weather report has come to a close.
So this podcast is going to come out on, I believe, the 30th of January. So the January's big release, if we talk about all the 2023 films, was probably Megan, the Kiwi-made, directed by a Kiwi horror film that has gotten this horror comedy film, I should say, that's gotten this like amazing reception overseas. I've seen it. Have you guys seen it yet, Megan?
No.
No, but it's out on VOD now, isn't it? So,
Oh, no, yeah.
like the VOD comes so fast these days. The amount of movies I've just like not been able to see for a couple of weeks in the past year or so, and then I'm like, oh, it's out already. If I'd waited 3 days to see Puss in Boots, I could have just found it on VOD.
Yeah, but God, you wouldn't want to miss that in the cinema.
No, but I'm just as an example. And also, like, this is still like listed everywhere as a 2022 movie as well, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I
It's
don't
on
know.
Letterboxd.
I don't think it came out anywhere in 2022. It's probably
Maybe it was
first.
at a festival, because I think on Letterboxd it's still. Didn't you see it in 2022?
Oh, I did, but I'm a special boy.
Yeah, it's listed as 2022 on Letterboxd, and that's where I get my.
Oh, that's weird. Well, it was listed as
information
2023 on Letterboxd for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not just being smarmy.
I'm not interested.
When I logged it, it was because I was like, "Wow, my."
I'll just be the audience
2023
surrogate
film.
here and be like, let's move on.
Well, no, we got to get to the bottom of this.
No. We got to the bottom of your bloody sun-damaged couch,
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy. We'll get to the bottom of why Megan is listed as a 2022.
Goodbye,
film
listeners.
on some
Goodbye.
and a 2023 on some others.
Well, it's wrong on Letterboxd. It's a 2023 film. It's very much a 2023 film. The Sun. I had tickets to go see this last night, and I went, you know what? I actually can't be bothered going to see that. That's the.
So this is the follow-up to The Father.
Yeah, and and it's like, oh, The Sun, is that a sequel to The Father? Yeah, it is.
What was The Father?
The Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor for it. They thought it was going to go to Chadwick Boseman. It was that film a couple years ago.
No, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Neither does the main character in The Father, because it's about Alzheimer's. Jeremy.
Oh.
But Anthony Hopkins is in it. But it's like it has 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. This film.
Holy shit!
I know, right? With like, and this kind of film, it's like this is the worst kind of 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, where it's like
Where they're
this
really
is
trying.
this is failed Oscar bait. But this is like it's based on. So I believe The Father, The Son, and then there's also a play called The Mother. Were all plays.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Holy Spirit.
I've said this so many times this week. Every single time someone has said the Holy Spirit,
And also with you.
But yeah, so Florian Zeller, who won the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar for it, for The Father, also wrote and directed The Son, and yeah, just did not.
It's not an actual sequel, though, is it? It's a.
Well, I
it's
mean, like
a-
Anthony Hopkins is in it, so I think it takes place
But
in the
isn't it-
same world. I don't know.
Is he playing the same guy?
Should we? I mean, if I'd seen it, I could have told you. But let's
There's easier ways to find out. What's the IMDb cast tell us?
Is The Son a sequel to The Father? Yeah, it's a prequel.
Wow, what a shock.
Yeah.
Does he play the same character though? I guess because I
Anthony
understood it to be
Miller.
more of a. I understood it to be more of a Hot Fuzz Shaun of the Dead situation.
No, he plays the same character.
No kidding! Wow, a bona fide sequel to like an Oscar darling getting 27% on Rotten Tomatoes by the same director with the same cast, released only a couple years later. I feel like that is a
Yeah.
very rare cocktail of a film.
Wow. Speaking of cocktails of films,
Hey!
Yeah.
what do you get when you team up Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy in a Netflix buddy cop film? You get a film called You People. which
Pure
I-
trash, I'm assuming.
Probably, yeah. I
Like,
think
this-
it just came out an hour ago, or maybe in an hour.
This feels like a movie that an algorithm put together.
Mm. It's also
That's,
because like
that's
Jonah,
half of the ones on the list this year.
Yeah. like Jonah Hill doesn't do these films anymore. You know, like
Mm.
What do you mean these films?
oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Films about police.
I'm also just noticing
The last minority left, am I right?
I just noticed, Jeremy, you haven't marked your most anticipated films of the year, but so just as we go through, can you let us know when we've reached
By
one?
the way, I am the audience surrogate, playing the person who has not
Keep saying
heard
that.
anything about any of these films.
For an audience surrogate, you certainly say you are one more than the audiences usually go on.
In this place,
He
even the
thinks
TV.
he doth insist too much.
In this place, even the televisions are metaphors. the writing on Popture has gotten way worse since I arrived. So.
I didn't mention, but as always, we've marked my most anticipated films of the year. We haven't said, oh, we're going to mark 10 this year or anything like that. We're just sort of denoted ones. But also, funny thing about you being the audience surrogate, it's like I've more or less stopped watching trailers as well, like because especially when I get to see these films like quite early, and I'm having to watch them anyway for my job. I'm like,
what's the point of watching trailers?
Yeah, I like if I can be surprised by the premise of a film. So there's a lot of these films I can't even tell you what they're about really. But for example, M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin comes out. It comes out this week when this is being released.
Is this the movie that's going to break the M. Night Shyamalan curse?
What M. Night Shyamalan curse? They're all beautiful in their own way.
Yeah.
This looks good. It looks I think it looks better than old looked. If that's any consolation. Even if it didn't, it has got to the point where M. Night Shyamalan has reached this level of I don't know what you'd want
intrigue,
to call it, but yeah,
curiosity.
where it's like them being bad is kind of part of the fun now. It's
like
very...
you go, you take a gamble each time. I can tell you the review embargo for this film lifts at 4 a.m. New Zealand time the day of release. So
wow. That's pretty promising then, isn't it?
That's generally not very promising. The later the review embargo lifts tends to be less promising because they don't want reviews getting out before people have a chance to see it. This is a late. Okay, I thought you meant it was an early one. But that could also be because it's he's famous for his plot twists and stuff, and it can also be to protect plot elements and stuff.
Do you guys reckon the twist is that they're going to be in the cabin for the whole movie and there's not going to be a knock?
I mean,
There's a knock in the trailer.
Well, it could have just been
Sorry,
added.
I'm burping up my sprites.
But I mean, I think that it's probably likely that this will be a one location discuss. I mean, again, I haven't seen the trailer, but a lot of discussions sort of film.
A play film.
Yeah, a play film or a COVID film.
It looks like a play.
Yeah,
I've seen the trailer. Do you want me to tell you what it's about?
Yes.
I believe it has something to do with
some sort of cabin, and there's
there's a knock. Yeah. What is the log line of the film?
It's like a Jonathan Groff and his husband and his daughter go to a cabin that they're staying at, and then
so you mean his wife, right?
No, his husband.
What?
And it's not even relevant.
What?
And Dave
That's
Bautista
the twist. This is actually really relevant.
Dave Bautista and Rupert Grint and other actors I don't recognize show up, and they seem to be some sort of fundamentalist cult that believe they have to kill them for whatever reason.
Right.
Sorry, you're saying that there's a fundamentalist cult who turn up and want to kill two gay dads, and you're saying that the gay dad factor isn't a thing?
You know what? Now that I say it out loud,
it sounds pretty cut and dried, AJ.
But yeah, I think it's the same sort of thing, AJ, that you mentioned. That it's I'm equally intrigued, not knowing if this is good or bad. Yeah,
exactly.
Finale to a much beloved franchise, Magic Mike's Last Dance.
We gotta check these out someday, man.
Yeah.
I'm so intrigued by Magic Mike. People should suggest it for Film Franchise Fortnights 2023. Let's do the Magic Mike trilogy after this comes out, because...
Yeah, I feel like I'll probably see Magic Mike's Last Dance. Hopefully it's not too confusing. Yeah,
well, I mean
apparently
they've all had pretty decent reviews, better than they should.
Does Gemma like them?
I don't know if Gemma's ever seen one.
Wow.
Yeah.
They seem like Gemma films. Or maybe they're too horny to be Gemma films.
I mean,
I mean, she has had
this-
like 3
if-
kids.
Be very careful what you respond to this with, Jeremy.
If this one involved Channing Tatum getting into a time machine and going back to like the sort of 1800s at like a country manor in rural England, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's actually hornier for women.
Yeah,
than-
Yeah,
than
yeah.
like as a
Because if there's
premise.
more clothing to take off from the start,
yeah,
Right.
then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
totally.
but it's called Magic Mike's Last Dance, so he probably doesn't go back in time. Maybe
Oh
he
my
goes
gosh.
to the future.
Imagine if this was a crossover with Mao's Last Dancer and it was a sequel to both.
We can only hope.
There's a film coming out called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and this is one.
What?
Yeah, so this is a part of this trend of like.
Speaking of Mao's Last Dancer,
Yeah.
is it about
So
chin
it's
jumping?
like a horror film. It's like Winnie the Pooh reimagined as a horror film because now Winnie the Pooh's in the public domain, not the Disney version of it, but
Yeah,
You
you
can't put a red shirt on him, but anything else is fair game.
yeah, and so yeah, that's part of this trend of like, and I personally I think it's the laziest fucking like I hate like so many people are like, whoa, what have they done? This is so crazy. Say goodbye to your childhood, and I'm like, this is the most boring, lazy like way to cover up that your film is probably terrible and just try and shock audiences into watching it. There's also a Grinch one coming out. There was a Scooby-Doo one a few years ago, and they're all just it's such a stupid idea, I think.
They're also I've been watching a lot of rewatching a lot of Arrested Development recently, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey sounds like a fake movie that would be in an episode of Arrested Development.
Yeah, that like
And-
Imagine Entertainment is putting together in the show.
and maybe he's an executive for it.
Yeah.
Like it seems like that. Like it's like I can hear Ron Howard describing the whole Winnie the Pooh out of public domain or in public domain thing.
Yeah.
And there'd be a bunch of jokes about how they can't put him in a red shirt and shit.
Yeah. I do, like this feels to me like the pop vinyl of movies where it's like people
totally.
people want to
That's a good
talk
way
to
to
me
put it.
about it. People think I'm going to be interested in it, and I'm just like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever
Whereas
seen.
you want people to just leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Chicken
one of the
Sprite.
one of the first big, probably the year's first big blockbuster is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which interestingly none of us have marked as our most anticipated, despite being a Marvel film. But this is the official start of Phase 5. Peyton Reed becomes the first Marvel director to direct an entire trilogy, which is real funny. And he has said that this one, he's acknowledged his place up until now as being the little palate cleanser after the Avengers films, and now he's like, we want to make this as big as an Avengers film, if you'll pardon the pun, obviously, because they go quite small in the film. But this also is the big screen introduction of Kang, who is the next big bad of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it looks quite good. But it'll be interesting to see how good of a job it does really setting up the next 4 or 5 years.
I don't know if I've aged out of Marvel movies or if they have if there's just too much, if there's bloat. Like I don't know if it's an age thing, a stage of life. I don't think it's an age thing, but like I just don't care. Like nothing about another Ant-Man movie raises the dial, turns the dial. I don't know what the phrase is, but like I'm
generally turn a dial instead of
yeah.
buzzing.
I just don't care, and I'm not gonna see it, and I'm not gonna feel like I've missed out on anything.
And
And I
you
think
might.
this is the Endgame problem: is that like they literally had a movie called
Post-Endgame,
Endgame,
yeah.
and then it's just like everything else feels like a coda. And I'm like, well, I don't really care about your coda. And
Okay, taking a shot at last year's Best Picture winner.
Just 'cause you
Random
hate deaf
place-
people?
Yeah.
You hate deaf people?
It's very ableist of you,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
I mean, Paul Rudd, I think, is probably one of the more likable people that Marvel has assembled, and I still
I
just
was
don't care.
speaking to someone who had a friend who worked on this film, and they said Paul
So
Rudd.
now we can't say anything bad about it.
Well, they said Paul Rudd was a massive dick.
No.
Which is like this massive shock. But apparently, it's just that he fucking hates Evangeline Lilly. on her, it was like the second to last day of the shoot, they did like, all right, that's a picture wrap on Evangeline Lilly, and Paul Rudd was like, who gives a shit? Just went home.
Wow. Drama behind the scenes of Ant-Man Quantumania. I don't think this looks very good. I think it looks pretty aesthetically ugly. And I'm not very interested in the story. I'm not very impressed by the director. And I think this is a strange move to introduce Kang in. But who cares what I think? Maybe it'll be good.
I did read one theory which would be interesting, that because obviously we know that there's like the whole thing of time moves differently in the quantum realm, that the idea that this theory that the film will end with like Kang getting out of the quantum realm or whatever, and then Ant-Man and stuff come out, and they come out to a world that has been destroyed by Kang, and it's like, this is the beginning of the Kang dynasty, which is the next Avengers film.
Can you just give a primer to a person who does not know what a Kang is?
I'll just finish this thought.
Yeah,
then I will. It's time to be real, guys. The and then like all the films between now and Kang Dynasty will be like prequels to this kind of. But it's like, I don't know why that would necessarily be true.
I mean, it makes sense with what we've been told about the quantum universe timeline, but yeah, I don't know. It just looks. I don't think I'll see it because, long live the king that is Marvel.
So Kang is the next big bad of the MCU. There's the next Avengers film is called Avengers Kang Dynasty, and in his whole sort of thing, there's that like Thanos across the multiverse. So if you imagine Endgame is like the MCU and how they went back and visited different parts of the MCU, that Kang Dynasty presumably will be the same idea, but with the multiverse. And so Kang, rather than existing through time necessarily, exists across the multiverse.
Oh, gross. Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, and they've said that the first one was the first three phases were the Infinity Saga. This is the multiverse saga.
Oh, that's why I'm tapped out. Awesome. Okay, well, good to know.
He's played by Jonathan Majors, though, who's a great actor.
Yeah.
If that's any consolation.
What else has he done?
He's going to be in Creed 3, which comes out in March.
Are we talking about that now? Because that'd be an excellent sequel.
Almost. There's one movie
There's
in
actually
between.
one
It's
movie
so
in
annoying.
between, yeah. He's not in Cocaine Bear.
But he so easily could have been,
Yeah. Is it anyone excited for Cocaine Bear?
You can tell me about it. Is this another Winnie the Pooh out of
No. This is based on a true story about a bear that did a fuckload of cocaine and just went fucking mental. And it's
a very embellished, based on a true story.
Yeah. But so it's a film that's embracing the meme of that as well.
Who plays the bear?
It's like a CGI bear, but what's his Alden Ehrenreicher's in it, and he says the line, "A bear did cocaine,"
and that's the movie.
Yeah. So it's like, it literally is. It's selling itself on the fact that you hear that premise and you go, "Oh fuck, this is going to be the movie." I mean, this is going to be memed to high hell. People are this TikTok's going to go crazy over it. Directed by Elizabeth Banks, randomly.
Oh yeah.
She's got a good comedic voice. I have no reason to not like it yet, but I've seen the trailer and it was like, oh yeah, that looks kind of crazy, but not in necessarily a way that means I'll be rushing out to see it.
I mean, AJ, you famously hated Pitch Perfect.
Well, she only directed Pitch Perfect 2, which I haven't seen.
Oh, I thought you had seen it.
She didn't. She's directed 2 or 3. I've only seen the first.
Yeah,
Pitch
okay.
Perfect.
I think
she directed the worst
2,
one.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Pitch Perfect film franchise Fortnite 2023.
Pitch Perfect might be the franchise I hate the most, that I'm most keen to cover. But, like, I love that we agree on it, because I fucking hate that movie.
Well, it's been 10 years, Richard. Maybe I will love it now.
Oh, no.
Maybe you will too.
Oh no.
I could see you loving it now. I could see you being like,
get fucked.
No, you'll
Get
message me after you watch it,
fucked.
and you'll be like, bro, I loved that. I had such a good time.
Bro.
You're a different guy.
Bro,
10 years
dude.
ago.
My dude, bro. No.
I'll say it. I reckon you'll like it more than Magic Mike.
No.
2 franchises we're destined to cover this year.
So, Yeah, cocaine beer. I think it's one of those things that, and you can't necessarily put this in a trailer, but it needs to have something extra. It needs to have a surprising amount of heart or something like that to really elevate
That's
it.
a good way to put it.
That it's Ray Liotta's last performance as well, which is interesting.
Oh wow! Hope it's not a waste.
Yeah. So now we are talking about Creed 3. I've marked this as one of my most anticipated of the year. Yeah, so this is Creed takes on your character played by Jonathan Majors in the ring.
Who's that?
He's in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, I'm a little bit apprehensive about this one. It's interesting. This is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. One of these actor taking over following in Sylvester Stallone's footsteps. But I am also just like, I don't know if I am going to like a Creed movie without Rocky in it.
And the thing is like the Rocky movies came out at a time when doing that many sequels was very rare.
It was silly as all hell.
We talked about it on when we covered it on the episode. And I think it's very interesting that we're getting a Creed 3 because I think while Rocky sort of pioneered the idea of a franchise, or arguably did in a lot of ways, Creed is not the type of movie you see turned into a franchise these days.
Yeah.
Like it's very especially look at the Oscar buzz of the first one, and it feels like it's too good to be a franchise.
Well,
we're getting
the original.
A third one.
Hello, Oscar buzz about the first one.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Though.
Same deal, right?
Yeah, but Rocky had one Best Picture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this wasn't a time before we had sort of like and maybe this is a good thing, but it was a time when Rocky came out is before we had the blueprint or the structure for what type of films get sequels. And I guess I just don't think the ongoing adventures of Creed necessarily deserve sequels. And I think based on the premise and the trailer, it feels like it could very easily become very trite. Not that the Rocky series didn't get trite by the third movie, but it was able to be. Whereas, I feel like Creed as a franchise takes itself more seriously than the midlife of Rocky took itself.
Yeah, I also think though that there's a certain sense in which, for the business of Hollywood, Creed represents an opportunity to have a franchise that's centered around black filmmakers that and it got a leap into kind of the the film world through its association with Rocky and Rocky Balboa being in the first two, but actually now it's established Michael B. Jordan as a main star of a franchise, and so I kind of just go, well, if it has the sort of name recognition now, why not? Actually use it as an opportunity to give black filmmakers a go, and and it's not like a sort of it's not even affirmative action because they were really successful films. And so I reckon, look, if Rocky can get a whole bunch of shitty sequels, let this one have a few serious ones that are actually maybe pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, when you say shitty sequels, Jeremy, you best remember who you're sitting in the same room as.
All right, so just to wrap up, AJ, you're anti-black filmmakers?
Oh, sorry. Right. I thought you were saying my most anticipated film that I'd marked. And I was like, anti-black filmmaker? What the hell is that? No, Ant-Man and the Wasp is my anticipated, not anti.
Scream 6. AJ, you and I have marked this. Jeremy?
I mean, if I had watched anything past Scream 2, I would anticipate this. Look, if you invited me to this, I would go to it with you.
Do you want to come?
Sure. When are you going tomorrow?
Yes, I mean, Scream 5 or just Scream 2022 was one of the biggest shocks of the year for me. And, again, I mean, am I excited about a sixth Scream film that doesn't have Neve Campbell in it? And yeah, I mean that feels like a bigger hurdle to overcome because now the only remaining original cast member is Courtney Cox, but then if they can maintain the quality they brought to the last one, yeah, sign me up. But I had plenty of reasons to be apprehensive going into The last one, I feel like I have more reasons to be apprehensive going into this one. This one is Ghostface takes New York as well. That's the Manhattan,
That's a good point, because it's like the directors who are doing the new ones, taking over from Wes Craven. It's like they proved themselves with Scream 5.
Mm,
But then it's like, well, you kind of have to prove yourself again without Neve Campbell on board.
mm.
But that being said, narratively, I am happy to give Sydney a rest.
Yeah,
I think something that we've discovered in covering long-running horror franchises that made me really depressed was like how inescapable they end up being if there's like a star of the franchise, and they always end up dying in half a dozen in different canons and things like that. And it's just, I just find it really depressed when like someone survives a movie and then gets killed or gets back into trouble.
Yeah, I would hate them to bring her back and kill her.
And kill her, yeah. Which is what I think might happen with Courtney Cox, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. I saw one theory that she'll be the Drew Barrymore-esque opening kill of Scream 6.
But yeah, Jenna Ortega in this, got her stars blown up in the last year. She was great in the last one.
And I'm down for the premise. I think taking it to a new place, like Scream feels like a series that has resisted change, and I think you can. It's surprising you could do that 5 times. To be honest, I'm surprised it hasn't already got stale. So yeah, take it to New York.
And I can't wait for all the commentary about taking a film to the new location. Like the. Whatever the destination sequel,
of course,
trope.
Of course, that's what it'll be. Yeah. Right.
Jeremy, this one, I don't know if you'll be anticipating this, but Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Oh, absolutely.
Is this one of your most anticipated?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. There was just a new trailer for it out today, actually.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have the same qualms about trailers, so I'll go home and watch the trailer.
Nice.
But look, yeah, Shazam. My surprise of the year that it came out, and
whatever year that was.
Whatever year it was. I loved it. Loved Zachary Levi. So yeah, sign me up. Into it. I'll go.
Nice. I'm glad we brought you, Jeremy. This is very insightful.
What do you say about a Shazam movie, eh? Like, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I think as like much as I liked Shazam, which was it was fun. I'm so ready for just to bury this DC universe in its current state.
But like Shazam is the best part of it.
And this is the last holdout as well. I guess Aquaman 2 would be, but they've already, like, they haven't said that Shazam
what else is this of the Flash?
Yeah, but all these things have been said that they're being retired, more or less.
Yeah.
Whereas they haven't really spoken about Shazam's place. And it's just like, can you just tell us this is the last one, please? Because I'd rather that.
Because you're just making me too emotional, James.
James
Gunn, that is.
Yeah. But what does Shazam currently have to connect it to the current DC universe? Like, they could
the headless Superman appeared.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, it's no,
okay. But I know what you're saying. It could be a situation where it's like, well, we never showed it was Henry Cavill as Superman, so it could be anyone as Superman. But then Black Adam shares characters with Shazam and does have Superman played by Henry Cavill at the end of it. They had when I saw the Superman cameo at the end of Black Adam, I was like, you fools, you had your way out. You could have just quietly let this movie bomb and then start again. And then they bring back Henry Cavill, and then 2 weeks later, while the movie is still in cinemas, they're like, Henry Cavill's out as Superman. It's the most counterintuitive, like marketing. I just thought it was such a shoddy business practice to do it this way. So funny.
So good. But yeah, Shazam: Fury of the Gods is one that I really enjoyed the first one, but I don't know how I feel about the second one.
Yeah, well, actually, thinking more about it, now that I've had some time to think about it, not just the first hot take. One of the things I loved about the first one so much was that the heart of it really came from the Foster family, and I feel like that story has been told now. And so, where do you go? Yeah, well, they're no longer a foster family; they're just a family. Ohana means family.
You know what? I'll say it. I reckon big prediction. I reckon this will be bad. I reckon this will be disappointing.
Yeah, I can see that. One that I also think will be disappointing is 65. You heard about this,
Oh,
Jeremy?
but that can I tell the story? Can I tell the story of what this film's about? I have a great anecdote. I'm cutting that. Everyone, I want everyone to know Jeremy just made a joke so lame I cut it out of the audio.
Editing on the fly. That's so good.
Yeah, making a note for future AJ. Okay, so
Well, now you have to keep it in.
No.
no, now I have to take it out. That's what my editor brain tells me. So 65, right? This trailer drops and it's like, watch Adam Driver's new movie, trailer for Adam Driver's new movie 65. I chuck it on, right? And it's Adam Driver and he's in space and he's flying a spaceship that's got a bunch of people on board and it's sort of very like and it gave me Passengers vibes.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah.
that movie with Chris Pratt? And I was like, oh, whatever. And my internet was really bad at the time. So I was like, I didn't finish the trailer. And so I was like, all right, whatever. All right, couple hours later, I got stoned, right? And I'm sitting
Fuck
in
it,
my
bro.
living room.
Drugs are awesome.
Drugs are so cool. I'm sitting in my living room high. No one else in my flat is high. And I'm like, have you guys seen the new Adam Driver movie? The trailer for it? And they're like, because I live with, as we've discussed on previous podcasts, I live with like indie kids, right? So we all watch like A24 films and that's about it. And so I chucked on this trailer while high and I got up to the bit where I was at and I was like, yeah, so it's an Adam Driver space movie. And then he's like, and then we crash landed 65 million years in the past and it's Adam Driver versus dinosaurs. And experiencing that midpoint twist high was like one of the most like insane experiences I've had in my life. Like to have put on a trailer, I was baked and half remembered it as like this Adam Driver space movie, only to find out it's an Adam Driver dinosaur movie was an experience you can't, you fall into that. You can't manufacture that experience. You have to accidentally have it happen to you. So anyway, it's an Adam Driver dinosaur movie, and it looks like it could be all good. I think it's a terrible title.
It looks so bad. Also, so
I think it looks fun.
The thing is,
But I was
like
high
in the
when I watched
trailer,
the trailer.
it's like the title comes up and it says like 65, and then it fades in million years ago. It's like, what? But the tagline for the film is
A million years ago.
The tagline for the film is the search for a new world led them to prehistoric Earth.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, I saw this pointed out on Twitter, but it's like, it should be the search for a new world found an old one.
Yeah, that's
And
right there.
also another problem with this is that tagline implies to me that Adam Driver and his people are not from Earth. They're from another planet, and that they just happen to, like, it's more about this humanoid colony that arrive on Earth during dinosaur times. And if that's the case, then why is it called 65 million years ago? Because it would be 65 million years ago according to whose,
I think it's like a
personal
Planet of the
experience.
Apes thing, but rather than going to the future, they go to the past.
Yeah. I hope they're from Earth, though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope
Like
it's
a
not.
reverse 2001 Space Odyssey kind of
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah. But I do think that it's so. Yeah, I like that tagline is. I feel like it has to have been that. Why would you write the first half of that tagline if that wasn't the second half? And then someone said, "No, you have to make it clearer." So
I mean, Adam Driver's normally good though, so I don't know. Does he pick crap? Not usually.
This could be a start of a whole new generation for Adam Driver, Jerry.
Yeah, new
Picking the
generation of crap.
crappiest,
Because honestly,
like-
like everything about what you've just said makes me go, "Oh gosh, I do not want to see that." But the fact, like, I have to hold on to the fact that Adam Driver is one of the most watchable actors,
and he's also got impeccable taste
Exactly.
so far. Yeah,
like he the projects he's attached himself to. I mean, you get invited to be part of the new Star Wars trilogy. Are you going to say no? Probably not.
Well, and the first two were successful. It was only the last one.
Yeah,
that
and he's
people,
already
like,
under contract by that
universally hated.
stage, so you can't say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would say the closest he's done to picking crap would be Dead Don't Die, but that got bad reviews, but it was a Jim Jarmusch film. So, at the very least he's like trustworthy of like auteur directors, even if the film turns out shit. I don't know who directed 65, so who knows what it could end up. Imagine if it's like Michel Gondry.
And everything's made out of cardboard.
Yes. A classic
It's-
Michel Gondry trope.
Directed by two people, Scott
Oh.
Beck and Brian Woods. Oh, they co-wrote
Okay.
a Quiet Place. That's one of the big selling points of the film.
Do you know what? Legitimately, that's probably something they told Adam Driver, and he was like, "Yep, loved A Quiet Place. I'll sign on." I reckon that was probably enough for him.
But yeah, that is like, it's in the trailer. It's like, from the writers of A Quiet Place. John Wick Chapter 4. This, and again, I haven't watched the trailer, but this is like, this franchise is diminishing returns for me. Like,
Same.
some of it is so enjoyable, and it still has some of the best fight choreography you'll ever see. But like, I mean, the first half hour of the third one was fucking incredible. The rest of the film dragged on a bit.
Is the wick burnt out?
Oh,
Wow,
Jeremy, you've just
that'll
given
be
me my
the
headline,
if this gets lower than fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, that'll be the like AV Club
With the end of its wick.
article title.
yeah, John Wick
That's good
burns
stuff.
bright.
Bring more of that kind of wordplay than the thing you said before. That I
There you
That
go.
no one will ever know.
Yeah.
no one will know.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, can you start the sentence again, Richard? Because Jeremy referenced the joke I cut out over top of you talking.
Are you guys excited for Tetris?
what?
Oh yes, what have you? What? Well, I didn't know you were going to say that.
Yeah, the
How
it's-
is this
this
different to Pixels?
So this is it stars Taron Egerton, but I don't know 100% the details of it, but I think there was a Do Go On episode about it recently, AJ, that
Yeah, correct.
about like the Russian versus American like rights ownership of Tetris, and it's a
Oh.
story
Yeah.
about like that behind the scenes drama. Would you be able to give a précis of the like
Pricey.
of that, AJ?
I mean that you basically did a précis just then. I would say this is not an a video game adaptation. This is not an adaptation of the game Tetris. It's not going to be like following.
It's a gritty, dramatic
Following the
backstory.
L-shaped piece.
yeah. It is. Yeah, it's as far as I understand it about the like some dude made it in Russia at a time when you weren't allowed to claim ownership of an IP, like you like in the whatever state they were
Yeah,
in.
in
Russia.
with communism, the state
Yeah,
owns
yeah.
all productivity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so it went it like I'm trying to remember now, but basically what happens if that happens with the most successful fucking video game to that date, right? Like
Yeah.
how do you reap the rewards and benefits of an incredibly popular game when you've made it under a communist regime? I guess.
Yeah.
How do you solve a problem like communism? Yeah. So AJ, is this the movie to break the video game curse?
Well, I don't think it qualifies. It
I
qualifies.
think he
'cause
knew
it's
that
not
and was
video
making a
game.
joke.
Well, I'll still answer him in earnest because I think everyone deserves an earnest answer to every
No.
question they ask.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Well, what if I asked you, are you looking forward to Moving On?
Just
Starring-
in general.
This is directed by Paul Weitz, friend of our brother of our friend Chris Weitz. Stars Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, who I imagine are two very Gemma actors.
Lily Tomlin less so. She doesn't. Although we did watch Big Business a couple of years ago, and Gemma
Nice.
really loved that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So maybe you can take it to Moving On. There's also, in March, we've got A Good Person, which is this film that's Zach Braff's directed, and he was making it for a long time. Stars Florence Pugh. And they broke up at the start of post-production. So he had to
I
come
got
in
so much stuff
to
to say
work
about this.
every day and
Watch her and edit her, and
Yeah.
oh sweet lord, and make her
Okay,
look
first
good.
of all,
Yeah.
as much as I love Scrubs, Zach Braff has like the ability for me to take him seriously as a storyteller in his filmography career has been challenging. I think Garden State may be one of the most like dated movies ever, like in terms of how good it was when everyone first saw it. I think it soon became like the archetype of a very specific movie to make fun of.
It was like the leader, right? And then it like had in its train, like in its afterwash or afterglow or whatever, like
It's
many.
Slipstream. It's Slipstream.
Thank you, Slipstream.
Apotheosis. It was the apotheosis of that kind of film.
It's Ouroboros. We're just eating our tail. Anyway,
Ouroboros. Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, like, and it's so funny to me. Like, and as soon as you started talking about this, the whole thing just washed into my mind. Like, yes, Garden State is that movie that's the archetype of it, and then everyone did it for like 4 or 5 years, and at about year 2, people started to go, "This is a bunch of bullshit, isn't it?"
These female characters are flimsy as fuck.
And these male characters don't actually deserve the attention they're getting. And they're all creative types written by struggling white creative type men.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched Wish I Was Here, his second film that he funded partially through Kickstarter, and that wasn't very good. And then he sort of did a bunch of gun for hire films, or he did one at least.
Yeah, that one with Morgan Freeman, who's also stars in A Good Person.
Yeah, so to know that the next film is called A Good Person gives me pause, because that's exactly the kind of Zach Braff bullshit you would call your new film, right? Like, it feels so typical. So that's my first thought.
It's almost daring someone to cancel him, right? Like, but I'm a good person.
On top of that, the whole the idea that Florence Pugh dated Zach Braff when she was like 18 years younger than him or whatever it was. At the time, I was like, as gross as this is, like, Florence Pugh I could so see being like the type of woman that JD would have dated in Scrubs.
Yeah.
She's so close to Sarah Chalk, right?
Yeah, it kind of made sense in a weird way, but now I view Florence Pugh in such a higher regard than I did when I found out they were dating, that they are from completely different pedigrees in my brain.
Yeah.
Now. And I can't believe that Zach Braff dated Florence Pugh. That's nuts.
It's literally like a Star is Born kind of thing. Like a guy who's like was famous, has the name recognition, like starts dating a woman like as she's sort of hitting her stride, and then she goes on and just achieves greater and greater success, and then he's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna
like how did they even fucking meet?
Tell me something.
In what context would Florence Pugh have met long has been sitcom star Zach Braff?
Well, maybe she walked into a room and there were 100 people there, and he was the only.
That's great, Jeremy. Next up, finishing off March, we've got Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. One of these many films that cockily put a subtitle in their first film.
I think it's worth it for when you get a sequel, and then you have this neat sort of packaging. And if it doesn't get a sequel, well, it can fall into the abyss. This is technically, though, not the first Dungeons and Dragons movie, Richard. This is the fourth one.
That is true. When it was announced and the cast started to get announced, and it's the guys that wrote Game Night, and the first trailer came out, and it was one of these ones I saw the reaction to the trailer before I watched the trailer, and I was like, and everyone's like, oh my god, like this film looks insane, this is crazy, oh my god, it looks so fun, and then I watched the trailer and I was like, this is just a fantasy film. It's a fun, self-aware fantasy film, but it's not doing the Jumanji thing that looked like. It seemed like the obvious thing to do.
So you're saying, like, the Dungeons and Dragons movie should surely incorporate characters playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious, right? I mean, I'm sure there are things from Dungeons and Dragons, the game, in this film, but I'm just like, it's not super obvious, yeah.
Yeah, I reckon it is maybe a more authentic idea to instead create a story that is so emblematic of teenagers writing it. Does that make sense? Like it is the obvious choice to do it as like this meta narrative, or even if it's like they get sucked into the world of Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. But like, I wonder if it is actually a more well written idea in the end, to instead, like, they're in a battle and there's something that happens that is, I don't know, their luck runs out. and I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but something happens that's very clearly like, if Dungeons and Dragons, how people play it was a narrative, it would be how like real people would react to these crazy dice roll style results to everything they try and accomplish
Yeah.
and things like that.
I mean, I guess this is just always the problem with converting games with a lot of different possible outcomes into one linear narrative. But it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you taking something that is a completely different genre of thing and trying to turn it into a film that has one narrative that everyone experiences? Like,
I can tell you why. Do you want to know why?
Money.
But it is money, but it's probably more significant than you realize. I found out on the Weekly Planet podcast last week, they were reading an article. Apparently, Dungeons and Dragons makes up 75% of Hasbro's like revenue.
whoa.
Think about how much Hasbro own. Transformers, like all these video
Think about how
games
much
and stuff.
money that company has, bro.
But like apparently like it got to the point
That was
where there were going to be conversations about splitting off Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that the like sub company that make Dungeons and Dragons, splitting that off into a separate company from Hasbro because of how much money it makes on its own. It's similar to how the reason why Elsa and Anna from Frozen aren't part of the Disney Princess brand is because the Frozen brand dwarfs the Disney Princess brand in terms of like sales.
Wow.
So it would be bad for the Frozen brand to pair it with it.
Yeah.
I just think
It's
that's
crazy
pretty
to me that if that's the case, that they did what? They did battleships before they tried to make it to Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, no, they
Technically,
did try and
this
make
is the
it.
fourth Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
It is currently rated as, I think, our lowest rated franchise we've ever covered, the original
Yeah.
1990s, early 2000s Dungeons & Dragons movie. The first one stars Jeremy Irons. They suck. They are so bad. They're like bad dreams in my memory.
But like the
watching
thing is
those
with Dungeons and
movies.
Dragons is that the whole point of it is that you're kind of playing with the
Yourself.
fantasy world that has been done in so many movies before.
Yeah.
Like there's elements
It's
of
the
this.
Uncharted problem.
Yeah.
It's like making a movie out of a video game that's based around what would it be like to play a movie.
Yeah, it's like,
Like
what would
with
it be like
with
to
Uncharted.
make a movie out of a game that felt a little bit like Lord of the Rings?
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah. And like a smart filmmaker, and Game Night is a great film, a smart filmmaker would accept that challenge and try and weave that into how the film is presented. I'm not sure. I'm staying cautiously optimistic. I think it is a fun cast. But it is also the kind of movie that you could just see, like remember when Baywatch came out?
Mm.
And like, judging purely by the trailers of Baywatch, I would have been like, this could be good, you know. I'm not amazed by anything in the trailer, but like I wasn't amazed by anything in the trailer for 21 Jump Street, and look how that turned out. And then Baywatch just like turned out to be this massive like clod. I could see something similar happening to Dungeons and Dragons, or something like Game Night, you know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's a mysterious looking year ahead.
So next up is one that I've marked as one of my most anticipated is the Super
Where
Mario.
are we in the year?
This is starting April now. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. I can't wait for this. Like the animation alone looks fucking amazing. Chris Pratt is such a great cast as Mario. I have no issues with Chris Pratt's voice, really. I think it's so fucking funny that they cast him. The rest of the cast is great, but yeah, this whole thing of like, no, it should be Charles Martinet. It's like, I don't want to listen to that for 90 minutes.
100%. They had a problem they ran into when deciding to adapt Mario into a full-fledged story, which is you just cannot sustain a story with the main character speaking in like dialogue that is more significant than yippee and let's go. Like, imagine if it's
Mamma
like,
mia!
I'm just gonna make up the plot of the Super Mario movie, right? It's gonna be like, imagine if like they have to get Princess Peach off Bowser, and then you had Charles Martinet in the role, and he's like, "We have to go and save the Princess Peach. Here is our plan. We are going to like anything extended, anything more than a few words is going to be like Minions level maddening.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, totally.
And so I'm not saying Chris Pratt was a good choice. I think there probably were better choices, but it makes sense to go in a different direction. And I similarly I think this could actually turn out quite good. I think Nintendo have a firmer grasp on their IP than most video game
like
movie
Sega.
adaptations that get made.
I mean, Sonic's quite a good
Yeah,
one, but it's
yeah.
like Sega famously does not know what to do with Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, dare I say, in almost a Kevin Feigean way, that I think that it would not be foolish to put your stock in the
Shigeru
Mario movie
Miyamoto.
being good.
I just think it's absolutely hilarious that like there's even an online conversation about like they should have cast an Italian actor for this Italian character. I was like, yes, this completely genuine Italian plumber who has been sympathetically written by the by the Japanese video game people fighting off those traditional Italian monsters, the enormous apes.
Yeah, I do think that like, and it seems like it's the voice Chris Pratt's doing is. Yeah, like it would be funny if they got I don't know, like a Tony Montana, Joe Montana.
I reckon
type.
John Turturro would have been a good Italian.
No,
American
you know who would have been
for this
great?
cast.
The guy from Life is Beautiful, Roberto Benigni. How good would his voice have been? Like, actually, though. Buongiorno, Principessa P!
Or like
Very good, Jeremy. I should get you to do it.
like they should have got what's his face, Viggo Mortensen doing his voice from Green Book. Like that's what I picture. That kind of
Yeah,
like,
right.
hey buddy, hey pally, hey,
Yeah,
oh, hey. That should be
Yeah.
most of Mario's dialogue.
Gandolfini, if he was still alive.
Yeah.
Been watching a lot of Sopranos.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about Bowser or his cunt wife ever again.
This was an interesting one that's like, oh yeah, this is a movie that's coming out, and then the trailer came out and completely changed my expectation of it. Is Renfield. Have you heard about this, Jeremy?
No, explain.
Yeah, so Nicholas Hoult plays this guy. So the trailer, I'll take you through the trailer. Nicholas Hoult is in the support group and he wants to get out of a toxic relationship. Then he's talking about this toxic relationship and he's like, oh, yeah, like it's with my boss. This guy's a total dick. And then at the end of the trailer, his boss shows up to the meeting and he gets invited in. And Nicholas Hoult tries to stop them from inviting him in. And it turns out his boss is Dracula, played by Nicolas Cage.
Fuck yes. Sign me up.
And
I'm there.
it's written by, I believe, Ryan Ridley, who's one of the main writers for Rick and Morty.
This is so interesting because this has been in the works for a while. Renfield is a character from Dracula. So
Yeah, it's his Igor.
Yeah. And when set photos first came out, I remember like Nicolas Cage was wearing this bright red outfit and people were like, oh, it's because it's going to be black and white and this particular tone of red is like really striking when it's made black and white or something like that. And like I was anticipating a much more serious movie than what the trailer indicates.
Because I think also
it's
like
also
Renfield
in color. It's not black and white.
Renfield
so.
like can eat bugs and then get power or something like that. That's like the power Dracula's given him, and so he's like, I have this ability, but I still want to get out of the relationship.
Nicholas Hoult is great. I really enjoy him. I'm quite in awe of people who manage to make it from like cloying child star to actually like seriously fun and good to watch adult stars.
Yeah.
Totally. Richard, so what's your perspective shift on this movie? Have you gone from yay to nay or nay?
No.
to yay?
It's just what you were saying, that it's like like a tonal shift. It's less so my anticipation of the film and more just my expectations of the film.
Yeah.
But I probably
I don't
am
know.
looking forward to it more now than I was. Like
I think I'm the opposite.
it seemed like one of those things that was like, oh, Nicolas Cage, the internet's favorite actor, is taking on the role of a lifetime as Dracula. And now that it's like, he's playing Dracula, isn't that crazy? I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of prefer that. Like, I'm less interested in it.
Is it not the same thing?
Well, I'm less interested in like a boring period piece. Like I was expecting like a Willem Dafoe, which just happened today. Willem Dafoe's been cast in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, and I'm like, that's the thing that sentence gives the internet boners, but it gives a different part of the internet boners to the type of people that, and Nicolas Cage as Dracula, depending on which side of the internet you're on, could give you a different boner, and
I think there's more than two sides of the internet for those boners.
I think I'm more of a Willem Dafoe Nosferatu boner than a Nicolas Cage in a comedy Dracula boner.
I think I
But,
also just thought it
boners
looked
come
fun.
in different shades and many different flavors of boner when you're at the end, like receiving the boner.
I did not expect to hear the word boner this many times in this podcast.
You should have. I think you should have. We are talking about what we're anticipating, and boy, am I anticipating my next boner. The whole day's planned around it.
One of my this is actually it's not. It was when I made this list. It was undated, but it's now received a date. Is Beau is Afraid, the new film from Ari Aster.
Can you please put a little green check next to my name for this movie? Because I'm anticipating this. I think this
I
looks
just
great.
found out it's 3 hours, which very much dampened my expectations for it.
Take the green tick off.
I haven't watched the trailer for this, but I saw like a
Haven't you?
screenshot of
Let me walk you through the trailer.
Oh.
You stop watching trailers, but then your best friend just tells you everything that happens in them. So this is
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll just get you to tell me instead.
Ari Aster's new film. So Ari Aster directed Hereditary and Midsommar, to pretty like him or dislike him, two I think very significant conversation commanding films of the last 5 or 6 years. And so this is his first one since Midsommar in 2018. And what it looks like is that Ari Aster does not want to have like a distinct visual style across his movies. He wants to be very different in everything he makes. And so this is about Joaquin Phoenix, who appears in different ages throughout the film, including as like a prepubescent boy.
It's a different actor playing him.
But it looks pretty fake to be a different actor.
I believe it is.
Done...
I've seen this. I think there might be some sort of digital work, but yeah, it is a different actor as far as I'm aware.
Right. Well, there's definitely been some digital work because he looks uncanny slightly. I can't really tell you what it's about beyond it just being like this, like it goes across this guy's life, but like it's got like him walking through like a cardboard cutout meadow, almost like a stage play at one point. It looks very strange and very exciting, and I reckon.
It's got Nathan Lane in it. I just added it back onto my anticipated.
Yeah, Nathan Lane's in it. I reckon the dam has broken, gentlemen, on a new trend we're going to start seeing swarming into Hollywood, for better or worse. I think this wasn't necessarily the inception, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once brought into the mainstream prestige the idea of being weird and zany again. I feel like weird and zany prestige films have taken a back seat for the past 15, 20 years, and now you're allowed to make a weird film and still get nominated for an Oscar again. And I reckon this is in the slipstream of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Kind of like the return of like the being John Malkovich of it all.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's taking the endless possibility of what using a multiverse as your story engine is. It's taking that and removing multiverse from it, but keeping all the insanity that is associated with it. And I think Beau is Afraid is going to pair nicely with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Another one that I recently added to my, finally just found out it was coming out the other day, is Suzume, which is a new film from one of my favorite filmmakers, Makoto Shinkai, who made Your Name and Weathering with You. This is an anime film. And in fact, I think we saw the trailer for Weathering with You when you and I went to the movies together, Jeremy, and you turned to me and were like, God, I couldn't be more fucking uninterested in that piece of shit. And I was like, I can't wait for that movie.
I was like, yeah, like this sort of serious anime like genre.
But I also think that
we like are furthest apart.
But I also think that it's like the way that I think Japanese, because it was a Japanese language trailer, and I think that they market their films very differently. And it's like I defy you to not like the film Your Name, but if you watch the trailer, if I showed you the Japanese trailer, you would be like, I'm not watching this.
Is this our bet for the year? Am I going to watch Your Name and like...
As if you'll watch it, Jeremy.
Okay. Hey, I watched the first half of Nope last night.
That's so depressing that you haven't finished it yet.
Hey, I had work today, all right?
There is an expiry date on how long you have to watch a movie after you pause it.
Hey,
to go
at
to
least
sleep.
it's not going to be 4
And I
months
think
like
it's
it was
Yeah,
with
yeah,
everything you
Oh my
once.
god, how did you do that? Why would you not just start the movie again? 4 months? This is madness!
That actually reminds me, I need to watch the last 40 minutes of Princess Mononoke. Because I watched the first half of it and then I watched another half hour and then I completely
Start
forgot.
it again.
I completely forgot I haven't finished it until just now. But yeah, I actually don't know too much about the plot. It's about a girl who finds a mysterious door, but if it's anything like his last 2 films, it's beautiful, gorgeous. Evil Dead Rise. This is another one that there's been a trailer out recently that I haven't watched. But
Don't they always, though?
Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, don't
well,
they
I think
always
it's
rise?
in this one. It's like the rise refers to that. It's like a high rise.
Oh,
It's
right.
It takes place in a
It's
building.
like-
It's Evil
it's more
Dead
like
in an apartment complex.
It's like an address. Like, and over
Yeah,
here
yeah,
is
no,
Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that it's that's part of the joke. But this is one. Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer, but I watched descriptions of the trailer. I watched people's reactions to the trailer. Like, this is the fucking scariest trailer I've ever seen, and I'm like, oh god, I'm going to review this,
Really?
aren't I?
God, I wouldn't call it the scariest trailer I've ever seen. But I don't know. I've heard from my sources who have read the script that it's not very good. But
Wow.
who cares? What will that do to the Evil Dead brand? Nothing. They're
Mm.
just happy to lap up any new content.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's not in it, but he's an executive producer, and he just tweeted today being like, "My DNA is all over this film."
Ugh.
Yeah, it was a cum joke. Like,
Oh, okay.
Don't be grossed out. He did it on purpose.
yeah, this is one that I only put in here as a Jeremy/Gemma movie. I don't know too much about it, but
Mrs. Harris goes to Italy.
there actually
She's
is two.
back.
There is 2 sequels to, or there's 3 sequels, I think, to Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
And each
the
of them,
book-
she still goes back to Paris, but this time she goes to Givenchy, and then the next time she goes to Balmain.
Is this some kind of Mrs. Harris goes to Paris deep cut?
Oh, because Mrs. Harris goes to Paris, she goes to Dior to
Yeah.
get a Dior dress, and the whole point of it is that she goes to Paris.
all
in
right,
order to
what-
buy-
whatever.
So yeah, there's
Whatever.
Mrs. Harris Goes to New York is the second one.
They need to rhyme.
And then there's Mrs. Harris MP, where she becomes an elected
Oh, because
official.
they're actually books.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
Mrs. Harris Goes to Moscow, where she gets mistaken for a Russian spy. The most insane
the
sequel.
hell is
Mrs.
this
Harris, goes
movie?
to Mrs. Harris goes to Moscow, where she's now it's literally all the way to the present day, and she's like 120 years old and solves the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
Like,
This is like the Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars levels of
Yeah, it's insane.
incongruous sequels I haven't watched.
I asked the director if they were looking to make them, and he said he's currently writing one, and he wants to make all 4.
oh, sweet lord.
So, anyway, it's a Veer God. It's me, Margaret.
I don't know anything about that.
Is this not already a movie?
It's a book. I apparently this is the first film adaptation.
Who's in it?
Oh fuck. Okay.
I want to say Julia Roberts, but I think I'm thinking of Eat, Pray, Love.
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, a Julia Roberts type. The Julia Roberts of her day.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely. She's the Julia Roberts of her day.
It's directed by Kelly Freeman Craig, who wrote and directed The Edge of 17. AJ.
Oh, that's a great movie.
It's about a 6th grader who grows up without a religious affiliation because of her parents' interfaith marriage. It was like a
Wow.
yeah.
That sounds great. Not to be like an old lady, but but Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Sounds kind of compelling.
Has just taken shot to the top of my most anticipated list.
By the way, having introduced this as a Gemma movie, I don't know how offended I should be on behalf of Gemma by you being like, not to sound like an old lady, but I might see this.
and not calling Gemma an old lady, more saying that
No,
like,
it's a joke because the whole point is that Gemma movies are old lady movies.
okay, well you said it. There you go.
Okay.
She's not gonna fucking listen, Jeremy.
Oh, her brother does, and he reports back.
Oh, I know.
Hi, Gemma's brother. Did we meet at the wedding? Yeah, we probably did.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn's sort of last thing of Marvel, and then he's bloody
God.
out.
They're all gonna fucking die, aren't they? Why wouldn't you?
What
Why
Drax
wouldn't you
is
kill-
presumably going to die. Batista said he's done. It seems like Rocket's going to die.
I'd say
no.
kill 3 of them at least. That's the way to do it.
Mm.
Kill the Guardians or the Galaxy, whichever one. I don't care.
But
The
you live in
Guardians
the
versus
galaxy.
This is
my
it's
God,
just
Jeremy,
again
you
like
live in the
all of
galaxy.
it's just dragging on too long. Like just stop trying to squeeze the orange. There's no juice
Yeah.
or pulp left.
Damn, that's dope. Did you just come up with
Maybe.
Marvel fans be like, I'll eat the skin.
that?
Would anyone like a zest?
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like, yeah, is there anything really worth saying about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? I mean, I think it'll be good. I've marked it as one of my anticipated because I trust James Gunn as a filmmaker, and I think that the emotional maturity of Guardians Volume 2 is the best in in the MCU.
Yeah. It is interesting that like James Gunn essentially started off the like he was the first mover in the sort of what then became the Taika Waititi kind of vibe. And then he also, in second Guardians, he sort of added in the layer of kind of warmth and depth and all that sort of stuff.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy probably deserves a bit of credit for what you were sort of talking about of this goofy renaissance. That, it's okay to... Because I mean, like, and on the sort of blockbuster level, not so much, I guess, on the Oscar level, which is what you were talking about, but that, before Guardians, everyone was like, fuck, this might be Marvel's first bomb. No one knows who these characters are. The film looks too silly, but
yeah, well,
worked,
and also
now
the sort of the
yeah.
prestige, the massive prestige superhero movie before that was Infinity War, right? No, sorry.
Avengers. The first one.
Was that?
First Avengers film.
Oh, did it come out before? What was the terrible one? The second Avengers movie.
Age of Ultron. It came before Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because Age of Ultron, I think, is the prime example of how bad that kind of we have to take ourselves seriously kind of superhero movie, and Guardians represents kind of like the release of that.
Yeah. Well, I think the film before Guardians would have been Winter Soldier, which is like the but before that would have been Thor 2, which is like the
apotheosis.
Yeah. Another Gemma movie I've written down is Book Club 2, the next chapter.
Oh, absolutely. Sign me up. What is it?
The fuck is Book Club?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's another Book Club movie.
Did
Did you message us the other day? Someone messaged me. No, there might have been someone on Discord was like, oh, they made a sequel to Book Club? And I was like, the fuck is Book Club?
I just think of the potato that
literary
potato peel
peel
society or whatever it is,
Guernsey literary and potato peel
yeah, which I never saw, but again, very much in the vibe, in the vein.
There was I went out to dinner with Jess and her mum, and Jess went to the bathroom, and her mum was like, "Oh, I see there's that movie coming out that's like the potato peel pie," and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And she's like, "Oh, there's like this movie. It's like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society," and I was like, "I'm so
These are just
sorry,
words.
Michelle.
These
I
are
have
just
no
words."
idea what you're talking about." She's like, "No, it's like, do you know what it's called? It's called something like and like she was saying the actual title of the film, but I was just like, those words don't make sense.
You're high,
order.
Michelle.
Yeah.
You're high.
Yeah, and then I found out that it was actually a movie, and she had got the title right. Fast X. It's funny. This is, I think, the second time where, like, because they've said the trailer's going to be out this week, or probably maybe out this weekend or early next week, that this is like the second time we've recorded a most anticipated podcast where we've talked about a Fast and Furious movie, not knowing anything about it, and then the trailer comes out before it's released, before like the podcast is released.
Well, let's embrace it. Let's make some predictions then. I reckon it'll be very Han heavy. I think we'll get Jason Statham in the trailer, and it'll deal with the fallout of that.
Yeah, what's going to be their big reveal in this trailer?
I reckon another relative, another Toretto is going to show up.
Yeah, is there? Oh no, Gal Gadot maybe.
Gal Gadot being alive despite dying on screen. Yeah.
Paul Walker, but no.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make my jaw hit the floor.
But they went to space in the last one.
Yeah.
They're going to go to heaven.
Now they're going to. Last year we defied space. We defied the laws of gravity. This year we're defying the laws of death.
Yeah.
We talked about
back
a movie in the in the Every Movies podcast being an atheist movie. This will be a full Christian movie. They go to heaven.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to this, AJ?
Nah, I'm tapped out. I think they they flirted with me enough to get interested, and that peaked at Furious 7, and I haven't really been impressed since then.
I can't believe the 180 I did on F9. I had the time of my fucking life at that movie.
I can believe it.
And then I watched it on the Chatham Island. I watched on Chatham Island on My Sky, and I was like, this film wasn't good.
Well, because they're cinematic films. You've got to see it at the movie.
We were telling you this, Richard. We were telling you.
It was also one of the first big blockbusters that I saw after like lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
And like when films
you didn't acknowledge that when we chatted. You were like, it was so funny, man. You were like, I don't see how you could watch this one and think it's any better or worse than any of the others. And I was like, that's describing the experience I had with this movie. You were so confident, and then you very sheepishly were like, you know what? You were right, it's not good.
I only watched like half of it, to be fair, so maybe the bits I missed were the good parts.
Probably.
Little Mermaid live action one. Jeremy, I know you had an issue with them changing the race of the
Sea Witch.
No, yeah. Yeah,
I just, because you say that, I need to clarify that is a joke, and I absolutely did not have an issue with that. Before anyone else in the Discord tries to make a meme and then gives up.
It is funny that like so they released the first trailer for this, and like it looks nice, but no, actually it doesn't really look that nice. It looks like this washed out, dull, dreary color palette that they've done for all the live action films. But I think Halle Bailey's voice sounds like she's got an incredible voice. I hate the little trill that she does when she says, "Wish I could be." Mm-hmm. It sounds like someone singing the national anthem.
It sounds exactly like how Richard just did it.
It's but like when people sing the national anthem, they're just trying to show off and their range. And I was like,
this is my version.
Yeah, I just listened. I don't know. I didn't like that, but she has an incredible voice, and I have no issues with her playing the character. I just didn't like that one specific moment.
Yeah.
I have you guys seen the video thing? It's called Angry New Zealand Anthem.
No.
It's like from like some kind of, I don't know what it is, but some event, public event, where there's a lot of people around and someone's singing the national anthem, and you can't see who it is. It's just filmed from somewhere in the crowd, and it's like, it's so fun. It's like, what's the final line of the New Zealand national anthem?
God defend New Zealand.
God, it's like, God defend New Zealand.
Oh yes. I have seen it. I had he tries to go for something like inspiring, but then it ends up just sounding like psychotic. Like
he sounds so angry at the end. I'm gonna put a clip in. It's so funny.
It's real good.
Land!
Yeah. The problem with all of these live action things is that it's like they all have this need to justify their own existence. And like with Beauty and the Beast, it was like, well, what if we told that story, but instead of Belle being a Stockholm Syndrome shut-in who has no agency, we make her an inventor herself who mentors young girls for 2 seconds. It's just like, I mean, if that's the story you want to tell, don't do a Beauty and the Beast movie. You know, like
I reckon you could cut. We've been doing these annual podcasts for a long time now. I reckon you could cut every time we've talked about a live action Disney remake and remove the nouns, remove the movies that we're talking about, and you could play them all in a row, and it would be impossible to guess which one we're talking about because they all have the same problems. They all look the same. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like, I've ran out of stuff to say about these movies, and until one is fucking good, I have nothing else to say about them.
And I feel sorry for all the actors who are involved because this is such a major opportunity for them. But like, especially, is it Halle Bailey?
Yes.
Yeah. She is a star. Like, she has real like talent, and I worry that this is going to be not what she hopes it's going to be and what she deserves.
Well, look at the guy who played Aladdin. He didn't get any work for ages after.
Or
the live action
Jasmine.
Aladdin. Yeah.
And the day that, like, the same week that he was like, I haven't had a single audition since Aladdin, they were like, we're giving the white character a spin-off.
Yeah, that's
Oh
right.
no!
Is that still happening? That show?
Surely
Or
not.
movie?
I don't know.
God, it feels like it was ages ago. Who even fucking remembers that movie?
So we're now in the final month of the first half of the year. So we're wrapping up the first half of this podcast. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Jeremy, is this one of your most anticipated?
Absolutely not. Anything that has verse in the title, no thank you.
Wow, okay. So we haven't had any films
What
yet
about
that are...
Godzilla vs Kong?
That's a VS.
It's a verse, though.
Oh, it's verses.
What about if there was like a music film about a verse?
Yeah, like music and lyrics.
Across the
chorus and
universe?
verses.
Yes.
No.
Fuck.
We thought we'd got him.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, like, frickin' hell yeah.
This will be either... this is so dramatic, but like... This will be either my first or second favourite film of the year, surely.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine not... It's going to have to be really bad for me to not be completely swept away again. I think I understand your tiredness with this sort of stuff, Jeremy, but like...
This is the best one.
I share that with you, but that tiredness does not extend to Into the Spider-Verse, and like I'm so excited just to like I remember my first thought after watching Into the Spider-Verse was like,
Wait, this is the animated one?
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
board. I love that. No, this
Yeah.
is good.
Oh,
Sorry,
right.
This is the sequel to that, yeah.
Sorry, because the last Spider-Man movie with
No Way Home, yeah.
that had wasn't there a verse Spider-Man one that's not the animated one?
No.
No.
Oh god, I'm losing
that'd be
track.
very confusing.
I'm-
I bet
no.
people would be.
No, sorry.
position if that were true.
I take back what
Was
I
this
said.
one of your most anticipated of the year?
Yes, I
Ah,
really,
it's our first one that's all three of us,
I
yeah.
really,
We got him! We got him!
Hey! I take back what I said about verses. I'm okay if it's an animated.
Jeremy,
Spider-Man.
you've become the very thing you sought to destroy.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember. But anyway, AJ, you were going to say that the first thought you had afterwards was, I can't remember a film that got every single creative decision right.
I wasn't going to say that, but that is true.
That's
I
what
was
you
gonna
said to
say,
me
like,
when the lights came up.
oh, right. I remember thinking, like, I could keep watching this.
Mm.
This, like, very long children's movie.
Mm.
I could watch for another couple hours quite happily. And, like, that animation is so addictive to me. And, you know, we see it in a bunch of stuff these days.
Puss in
but
Boots
nowhere
2.
as good as Spider-Verse. Puss in Boots 2 was close, but Spider-Verse, I think, played with the form a little more.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. It's about time. I've got
Yeah.
very high hopes for
Well, the thing about Across the Into and Across the Spider-Verse is that it's like, you know, something like Puss in Boots is just like, oh yeah, where it's an animated film, let's make the animation as beautiful as we can. Spider-Verse is like, well, you've got live action Spider-Man films. Why come to the animated one unless we take full advantage of the medium?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I've never seen a film take quite so much advantage of that. Like, probably literally, like, it feels weird and like a recency bias thing, but it's like, Into the Spider-Verse is probably the best animated film ever made.
Wow. What a thing to say, Richard. Where are we how many more films have we got left for the first half of the year?
Oh, just like 30 or 40. So Transformers Rise of the Beasts. You guys excited to return to the Transformers universe?
I
without-
cannot believe they're still making them, and that's all I'm going to say.
Let me double check who.
Is it Michael Bay?
No, it's not.
No, it's-
Well, that
But it's also not a sequel to Bumblebee, which was absolutely the direction they should have gone in.
I believe, yeah, it's Stephen Cable Jr. who did Creed 2. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. Like, it's going to be interesting to see, like, okay, well, what kind of Transformers movie? Because Bumblebee's like an E.T. style, like, coming of age supernatural sort of film, or like coming of age with an otherworldly element. And then it's like, well, okay, what if they're just fucking fighting each other again? Like, what is that like? Can this actually be good? You know?
It's like when the execs are all sitting around in an office wondering what to do after Bumblebee, and they just can't think of anything. So they're just like, all right, what if we go back to what it looked like before?
Yeah, what if they just fight each other again? There's a film called Strays, which I only just learned about through doing this. It's a live action and animated hybrid film about stray cats as an adult comedy film, but it's produced by Lord and Miller. So I was like, and then Lord of Miller, and I was like, oh.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Not too many details about it, unfortunately. I'll see if we've
But
got
just never bet against Lord and Miller.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
Yeah, God, those guys get it. So it's got Jamie Foxx, Will Ferrell, Will Forte, Isla Fisher, Randall Park. Yeah, seems fun. Oh, it's about stray dogs. Sorry, not stray cats.
That's very similar to the game that came out last year.
Yeah.
About the stray cats called Stray.
The Flash.
Oh my god, we still have to talk about the Flash? Jesus Christ. Can it? I reckon don't release it. Fuck it. You're not releasing Batgirl. Don't release this either.
Like who at this point, who is gagging to go and watch the Flash movie other than the people that Ezra Miller himself is actually gagging and forcing to watch it?
Very, very dark.
No, I'm dark about this because I'm really pissed off because when we named my son Ezra, I was like, oh, there's that one actor, but oh well, he's never really going to make it that big. And then it's like he made it like more famous, but in the worst way.
I hate to do this to you, Jeremy, but they, not he.
Oh, sorry. They became more famous and for all the wrong reasons. Like it's just like,
yeah.
I hope this all blows over and they disappear from public
view. I hate
view.
to say it, Jeremy, but you probably should have came up with a name that was better than Ezra.
A zing.
It's funny because this has got Michael Keaton back as Batman. It's got Ben Affleck back as Batman as well. But Michael Keaton was also returning as Batman in Batgirl and in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, but then apparently audiences found it confusing and they reshot his scenes with Ben Affleck. And then when all the Ezra Miller stuff was happening, it was like, are they going to have to can the Flash? And it was so funny to think that they got Michael Keaton back to play Batman 3 times, and we might never see any of them.
Oh, man.
Which is such an unprecedented move in casting as well, and something they should have done years ago is bring back this like a true legacy casting call.
Yeah,
like it's such an enticing idea to me.
A universally beloved casting as well. Like, I mean, Michael Keaton,
yeah.
I don't think you'd find many people who have a bad word to say about his Batman. And it's just like
hated it.
So the idea that there's I think there's some, it seems like there's some really interesting creative decisions going on in this movie, but it's like, how do you go, I don't know, how do you sort of get excited to watch it with everything that's going on?
This feels impossible.
It just feels gross.
And if we ignore all the like ethical responsibilities that we have as consumers of media, at the same time I'm like, man, it's kind of exciting to watch a studio have to navigate shit like this. Yeah. And they'll probably make like the worst decision or whatever, but like it's just like, a responsibility has befallen them. You know? And what do they do?
I think Ezra Miller went to rehab or sort of seeked help for their issues. And the press tour for this film is going to be insane.
Oh, surely it's just going to be the director and a couple of the other,
Elemental, this is new Pixar
film.
Fuck
it, get Ezra in there. Why not? Yeah. Have them do the press tour.
Elemental, new Pixar film. It's about elements,
Is this a Pete Docter film?
It's a rip-off of a Pete Docter film, if it's not.
Does this not feel like the Inside Out, Soul, this is the next one?
Well, like, literally, it's like, what if Inside Out, but instead of emotions, elements? Like,
I don't know. I dig it. I think it looks cool.
Even the character design is like, I don't know. It's just...
it's a Peter Son, who... has only made one other film at Pixar, I believe, which was The Good Dinosaur.
Oh no!
And you know what? It's somewhat bedfellows with The Good Dinosaur as well, because it's one of these rare Pixar movies which is set in like an alternate universe. There's no connection to the real world.
I don't know if it's that rare though, is it? Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
rare.
Peter Son also voices Socks, the cat, in Lightyear.
Oh, no shit. That's crazy. What a weird connection. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Elemental, it's like, it is one of these things that it's such a, like, a Family Guy cutaway gag about a new Pixar film.
Yeah, I guess so. But, I feel like maybe we've reached a point in pop culture where that kind of thing is happening a lot. Like, we're getting these, like, we're talking about, like, how I was saying how, like, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey feels like Arrested Development. It's like...
Well, there's fucking MILF Island, is like an actual reality show now.
Yeah, exactly.
After being a years-long running joke on 30 Rock.
Yeah, and I think, like, that maybe we're just getting too quick as people who watch movies. We're getting too quick to judge something and call it a parody, and we're working faster than the artists who are trying to just authentically make stuff.
Just a couple more for the first half of the year. Asteroid City. This is Wes Anderson's new film.
Oh, nice.
I
Who's
believe the stars Tom Hanks, and it's his first time working with Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. He hasn't. He's been making some bad choices.
He could come back.
Like, what a weird thing to think about Tom Hanks, though. Out of, like, my entire life of watching movies, the idea that this year I go, ooh, Tom Hanks is in it. I wonder if it's going to be any good. Like, come on. What a weird situation to be in.
All right, do you want me to give you the cast? Maybe it doesn't actually have... it does have.
Is this a stop motion animated one?
No, that's coming later in the year. Tilda Swinton, Adrian Brody, Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie, Rupert Friend, Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Hope Davis, Jeff Goldblum, Jeffrey Wright, Liev Schreiber, Tony Revolori, Matt Dillon, Sophia Lillis, Steve Park, Maya Hawke, Fisher Stevens, Jake Ryan, Ethan Josh Lee, Edward Norton, Steve Carell, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Grace Edwards, Aristotle Meehan, Rita Wilson, and Jarvis Cocker.
What are they all going to do?
That's such a massive cast.
Well, the thing about, like, Wes Anderson films is that, they walk past someone selling newspapers on the street.
Yeah.
And it's Jason Schwartzman. Like, there's no role too small for a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
Like, Saoirse Ronan, I think, like, she just smiles in the French Dispatch. There's, like...
she had a bit more than that.
I remember, I can't remember. Anyhow, I never saw it. Yeah, I mean, this is one that...
Okay.
I'll give you the plot synopsis if you... It's apparently, the cast has been described as being larger than most other Anderson films that are... what's the word? Ensemble in nature. In 1955, students and parents from across the country gather for a scholarly competition, rest/recreation, comedy, drama, and romance at a junior stargazer convention held in a fictional American desert town.
Sounds fun. I'll check
Wes
it out.
Anderson-y.
He's sort of becoming a parody of himself. Though,
Yeah.
Well, he always was. Like, I mean, as someone who's... I mean, he's rides that line between art and camp, I think. Like, but that's his thing. Like, that's what he wants to do, and that's what makes him an auteur. And it's always... The thing is, it's always worth seeing what he's doing because he's so outside of trend.
Yeah.
And that's what's really beautiful about artists is that they actually don't give a rip about whether or not what they love doing fits.
It is funny. Like, I always say, like, I feel like I got on the Wes Anderson train too late. And
I mean, Darjeeling Limited, it was the wrong train.
Yeah, very nice. Because Moonrise Kingdom was the first film with him I saw, and I saw it in the cinema when it came out. But now it's like most of the people who would say Wes Anderson's their favorite director would have seen his, like, Grand Budapest would have been their first film that they saw, or like they weren't even born when Moonrise Kingdom came out because
But 4 years old.
What? It's like 10 years old, 12 years old. Or something.
4 years old, Jeremy. What a
When did that
crazy
come out?
Like 2011 or 12.
Oh, I'm too old.
Maybe
that
12 or
feels
13.
way too recent. It's
But I think that it's like it's just funny now that it's like, I actually have been aware of and watching Wes Anderson films for like half his career now, but I still don't really.
If you didn't get in at Royal Tenenbaums, you still feel late.
That's
Yeah.
So Moonrise Kingdom was the first Wes Anderson movie I ever saw. I saw it in theaters as well.
No, you're
Get
thinking
this,
of me, AJ. That was my experience.
No, it was me. But get this, I'd never heard of him before.
Oh, well,
Moonrise
you're
Kingdom.
a loser then.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. There's a film called No Hard Feelings. It's coming of age comedy drama starring Jennifer Lawrence. She's doesn't do that many roles, and a coming of age comedy drama is like, oh, okay, Interesting. Keep an eye out for that one. But the last film we're going to talk about in this part 1 is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I haven't marked this as one of my most anticipated. Jeremy, is this one of yours?
This is not the first time I'm hearing about it, but it might as well be for all I know about it. Like,
Right.
I just know that this is being filmed. I know
There's a trailer.
pretty much. Have you seen the trailer? I haven't seen any. I haven't even been served up the trailer by YouTube or anything.
No.
But the idea of it, I'm not anticipating. Like,
The idea of an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, no, you tried.
Yeah.
No, you already tried. You failed. No.
It is interesting because, like, there was this whole movement for a while that it's like every character should get a Logan-style send-off directed by James Mangold, and like, and it became a meme. There was like someone said it like became like a copy pasta of like, do it with this, get James Mangold to direct it, and James Mangold's directing this, and it's a send-off for the character, and so it's kind of, is it actually going to be like that? Who knows? Yeah.
Is he fighting Nazis?
He actually is. It's about the race to the moon, and there were actual Nazis in NASA that got us to the moon, and so Mads Mikkelsen is playing the villain in this film, and looks very much like a wanting to evoke imagery of the face melty guy from the first film.
Yeah, as soon as you said Mads Mikkelsen, I was like, oh, there you go. I see what they're going for.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge as well.
Oh, really?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays his goddaughter.
Yeah.
Bring me in
is
then. Okay, fine.
the daughter of the old guy who was his friend in the
with the round spectacles.
Yeah, who I think the actor died, so it's his character's daughter.
Oh yeah, and he was like the English professor at the university. Yeah.
And so I imagine going forward, whatever, because you don't just make a final Indiana Jones movie, you set up the plethora of sequels and opportunities and spin-offs and Disney Plus shows, and I would not be surprised if Phoebe Waller-Bridge has, let's just say, signed a couple of contracts we haven't heard about publicly for future films.
A friend of mine worked on this film. They got into working in film, and this was the first film they worked on, and they just told me a massive spoiler the other day. Without realizing it. Like, it was like, yeah, she was like, oh, anchors, blah blah blah. I think that's been reported, and I was like, and then I looked up afterwards, I was like, that hasn't been reported.
How tantalizing. Well, we shan't.
Do you guys want to know what it
here,
is?
Tell me off air.
Even though it won't, it's tantalizing getting a Cole Popture exclusive, but I also don't want to get your friend in trouble because you just couldn't have been more specific about who they were just then. So. But I don't know. I feel like I'll go see this. I think this is, for a lot of films, I think I'm anticipating it like, I'll probably be anticipating more further to it than I am now, because right now it's just like another thing on the list.
But that was the thing, and I think about the trailer as well, that I was like, oh, this is just another indie adventure. Like, I was expecting more of like just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in kind of thing. And it just seems a little bit more like, oh, he's still doing this. I don't know. I only watched the trailer once, and I have this uncanny ability to immediately forget trailers. So, yeah, no, I am looking forward to it, but it's not one of my most anticipated necessarily. But yeah, I think as the time comes, yeah, maybe we will. So that's the first half of the year up until June. AJ, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I just want to say that thank you very much for listening to our first half of the year. We're going to watch all of these films. There won't be a single one we'll miss.
Jeremy, you're going to have to do the lion's work of those Gemma films. I'm not watching Book Club 2.
Yes, you will.
I probably fucking will.
The boomer
will.
audience of TVNZ demands
will.
it.
Yeah, damn it.
The rain from Auckland has made its way to Christchurch, so if you're hearing a lovely little drizzle, that's what that is. But if you enjoyed this episode, please hop on the Discord and tell us what your most anticipated film of the year is. Next week we will be continuing a conversation about this, and yeah, I mean, what else is there? Like
Stick
us
around
on
for the
Instagram
post-credit
and
scene.
Twitter. Stick around for the post-credit scene coming at you after this music ends. And if you want to get involved in that, then head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/ColdPopture. Help us make this show the best it can be by giving us your money. And yeah, we'll be back next week with what's the first film we're talking about next week?
Well, I can tell you it's not the first film we've got next week, but the big discussion we're
that's
going to be
what I
having is in July this year we are getting Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day.
Kaboom! Welcome along to the post-credits scene. This is a segment at the end of each episode where if you donate $5 or more over at patreon.com/Popture, you get to give us something to talk about in this, the post-credits scene. Richard and Jeremy, who is it from and what is it?
Today's one comes to us from Sam Page, who says, when will you be bringing back Meme Chat as a segment?
Jeremy, do you want to take this one? This was a
Constantly.
reference to, I reckon, a season 1 episode. A 2016 episode that we opened with Welcome to Meme Chat.
Here come Dat
and
Boy.
Here come Dat Boy. And Sam, who's a friend of ours, fucking loved this joke. has like single-handedly kept it alive all these years. When will it be coming back? Tell you what, get us to 100 patrons. We'll start a new podcast exclusive to Patreon called Meme Chat, and we'll get Jeremy on every episode.
Dat
This is
Boy.
how confident I am that it won't happen. Is that Jeremy.